Hello, welcome to a new Lead with Soft Skills podcast. I'm your host and coach, JP Warren. This podcast is all about providing you the necessary leadership and personal development skills to kind of get you out of your way, to kind of level up a little bit and maybe just help provide some guidance in some areas that you were aware or you weren't aware of, whether it's public speaking, networking, or right now we're going to be talking about your leadership development, which is delegation. If you're enjoying these podcasts, please ask you to share, like, comment, subscribe, talk about this, maybe pass it on to someone who might find these conversations valuable. All right, that's why I do this. That keeps me motivated, and to see the people kind of the feedback that comes from this is very inspiring. So I want to thank y'all for being here today. These are about 15 minutes or less to provide you some necessary skill sets to help you kind of grow as an individual, as a contributor, as a leader of a team. And this conversation today is all about the power of delegation, if you can see behind me. And this is one quote that kind of spurned this and kicked this off. We had a Crew Club Mastermind Roundtable discussion in Denver, and Jason Churchill, the CEO of Petro Legacy, provided this great quote just to kick off the discussion about delegation: is you can have control and you can have growth, but you can't have both. And I thought that was such a powerful thing to me. Someone as an entrepreneur who's I've been doing this for 3.5 years. I still have difficulty pronouncing that word. So someone that has their own business, how about that? This has been a challenge for me as I grow, not just as it deals with my imposter syndrome, about kind of releasing a little control, about providing people certain tasks. But this is also crucial for those that are building a team, whether you're on a team or maybe you are kind of looking to get some more efficiencies and improvements from your team and from yourself. This is a great thing to lean into and dive into and start learning about the benefits, not just the benefits about delegation, but also the importance of it and how to properly delegate. And previously, I know when I first started delegating a lot of tasks, when I first started my company, it was more kind of delegating tasks. And I wasn't really communicating the outcome, the why, the how I wanted this done, or what my vision was, or anything like that. It was more kind of, I started getting frustrated about a task and I just pass it off. And then I get more frustrated that whatever I passed off wasn't met to my expectations. Well, shame on me. I was the one that wasn't communicating. I was the one that was setting people up for failure when I was trying to delegate, just because I wasn't doing it properly. So here's a little crash course for you on how to master your delegation abilities, delegation skills. So again, we're going to start off kind of going over the importance of delegation, the benefits of delegating, and also we're going to kind of get into the proper ways, the 5 steps on how to delegate efficiently and the right way. So let's talk about real quick the importance of delegating. And again, this might be something that's very difficult for a lot of people out there, myself included. But that's okay. This, as a leader, there's a lot of skill sets that we need to take on, a lot of things that we got to get uncomfortable with doing. And delegation for me is definitely one of them. Passing off responsibility, passing off my little baby of an idea to someone else to kind of raise and to bring back to me is definitely brings me a lot of anxiety. However, learning how to delegate the proper way takes a lot of anxiety off. And not only that, you're only helping yourself and your team if you do it correctly. So let's talk about the importance. Number 1, scalability. As a leader, you cannot do everything on your own. You just can't. So if you do want to scale, if you do want to grow your company, you do have to learn how to delegate certain tasks. Whether that's, obviously we're not going to get into the tasks, so that's for you to decide. But if you do want to have some more space to work on the business, not in the business, it's time to realistically think about delegating some decisions throughout the team. All right. Number 2. The importance of this is team development. When you are delegating a task, number 1, you're showcasing trust. And this kind of ties into the benefits of this. All right, number 1, you're kind of showcasing trust. Number 2, you're putting the responsibility on someone else. And what that does, that puts a little trust in them, they put a little trust in you, and that just builds your team to be a much more stronger of the unit, okay? And it increases efficiencies and productivity. If you're not holding everything to your chest and holding all your roles and responsibilities, everything that you have to get done to your chest, you're going to be more efficient. If you relinquish some of that, some of the tasks that eat up your time, or maybe just kind of consume your day, you're going to grow as a team, as a company, as a unit. So, okay, let's kind of dive into a little bit of the benefits. We kind of talked about this. Number 1, it increases trust among your team. Okay, if you're providing your team a challenge or a task or something to accomplish, and you trust them, and they show trust in you and all that stuff. All it does is increase trust with your team. You're putting a responsibility, you're empowering them to do something. All right. Number two, you're increasing innovation. And over here, here's some notes here, and I'm gonna kind of tie in the notes real quick. So what you're doing here, you're gonna be delegating decisions, not tasks. Okay. And what you're also doing right here, you're delegating you're overcoming. Where is it? Okay, right here, number 5. You're monitoring the outcome, not the process. So whenever you kind of do delegate a decision, or you are delegating an assignment to a person, you're going to just delegate them what the objective you want done. You're not going to tell them how you want it done. Okay, you're going to let them come up with their own innovative solutions to get that job done. Just because it's not your way doesn't mean it's not the right way. So again, unless it's something that you really need it done in a certain way, once you start delegating to your team and all that stuff, and they have their own ways, their own ideas on how to accomplish a task, or maybe a new way to kind of do a task that you didn't think of in the first place, that's just going to increase innovation. It's going to make your team think outside of the box and not be stuck in your way. I love listening to new ideas that are outside of my realm because it just inspires me, first off, to make me understand I don't know anything at all. But secondly, it provides me a new way of viewing things and doing things. I think with that, I think that just builds to some great team building right there, and also personal growth. Okay, and also it decreases burnout. If as a leader, if you're assigned with everything, and you're holding on to everything to do. All right, there you go. If you're holding on all your tasks and everything like that, you're gonna get burnt out. There's only a certain number of times during the day. There's gonna be problems that pop up. Burnout is a real thing. Whether you're a founder of a company, or whether you're a manager, whether you're a leader or a contributor, burnout is a real thing. The more that you delegate and kind of push things off that aren't pertinent to you and you can pass off, it's just going to free you up where you're not resulting in all this burnout. Okay. And number 4, for the benefits, it's building your leadership pipeline. Okay. It's building your team to grow into leadership roles, to grow into more empowering roles where they can take on more and have more decisions versus just kind of being task takers. Okay. So now let's dive into kind of the proper way to delegate. So when I first started delegating tasks, as I said before, I would just kind of get fed up with an assignment, or I was getting tired of spending time on doing something. I would just pass that off. Oftentimes it would be without proper communication, and I didn't realize that there is a proper way to delegate. And this is what we're going to dive into right now. So there's really 5 steps into the proper way to delegate to your team. The first thing is define the task. Be clear about the task that you want done. Okay. Don't be vague. It's your job as a leader to communicate effectively about the task you want done. And it's okay to ask questions. Did you understand what I was saying? Are there any questions? Am I leaving anything out? Am I not being clear on the task at hand? Okay. Number 2, select the right person for the job. Don't throw anyone at the job if you need something. Understand and try to match strengths and weaknesses and willingness as your team to accomplish the task. If it's a math heavy task to solve, you're not going to put on someone with not strong math skills. So again, understanding your team and understanding the right person for your team. And even if it's a stretch assignment, you want to bring someone up to kind of test to see how they'd act as a leader or to make decisions. Try it out. But again, select the right person for the job. Just like the right tool for the job, you want the right person for the job, okay? The third thing is explain the objective and why. A lot of times people will just be given an order. It's the whole mentality is just do what I say, do as I said, and then come back to me. All right. But whenever you're discussing the objective, we're discussing what is the real why behind you're doing this. What you're doing, you're getting buy-in from your team. They're understanding the bigger picture. Okay. And that's because you're providing it to them. Okay. So explaining the objective and the why behind things often puts first off, a lot more clarity onto the task at hand. But what it does also, it's getting buy-in from your team. It's getting buy-in from the person you're delegating the task to. Okay. Number 4, just because you delegate the task doesn't mean they have the authority, doesn't mean they have the resources, doesn't mean they have the bandwidth or the budget. Okay. So if you are delegating a task, be sure to communicate the authority and provide the resources, not just to that person, but they also might need your help to communicate that to whether it's other groups, other teammates, or maybe other departments within your organization. So again, empower them and do that vocally and verbally. And if you have to write that down, whether it's email correspondence or anything like that, do it. But if you're not empowering them, first off, to make a decision, but second off, with the resources, then they're just going to be spinning their wheels and the task you delegate is not going to get done, unfortunately. All right. And the 5th thing is, I love this, monitor outcomes, not processes. Okay. So this is where the innovation kind of spurns. This is where the kind of the team building, the trust forms. Okay. Whenever you start monitoring outcomes, hey, did you get me the result? The result. Knowing me, knowing my historic self, I would probably be monitoring the processes. Hey, how are you doing this? This is the way I'd be doing it. Hey, you got to be doing my way. All right. Because that's the only way I know. That is such a short-sighted thing for me to think about or even process how to delegate. Trust your people. That's why you hired them on. That's why you brought them to the table. And that's why you're delegating tasks to them. Trust them to come up with their own ways. You don't have to walk. And now, unless they're asking for a process, that's fine. But if they're not, have them try to grow. Have them try to figure out the processes on their own. Okay. And again, here's a couple things. So again, you want to define the task. You want to select the right person. You want to give that person the objective. And hey, this is why we're doing this. This is why we need this to get done. Okay. And hey, here's your resources. You're empowered to do this. Here's your resource. I want you to make the decisions on this. And whenever you do start delegating to people, delegate decisions. Don't delegate tasks. So you can delegate decisions. You can delegate tasks all you want. But at the end of the day, you're not creating any leaders. You're not creating any leaders for your team. If you start asking for, hey, here, empower them to make the right decisions or empower them to make decisions, you're putting a lot more trust in them and you're building leaders without even doing much besides instilling trust and power on them. Okay. All right. And then obviously the fifth thing is monitor the outcomes, not the process. Here's a couple notes I think is really cool. So delegate decisions, not tasks. We talked about that. Again, if they have a new way of doing it, respect that, empower that, and be excited to see what they have to, how they're going to accomplish it. And as a leader, this is my biggest thing. Overcome your fear to delegate. I still have some fearful tendencies holding me back from delegating some things, and really kind of overcoming that and facing those fears, just kind of relinquishing control and trusting the process, trusting the team to get it done the right way or to get it done properly. That's something that I need to face with as a leader, as a business owner. And I think a lot of people out there too. A lot of people like controlling the situation or trying to control the situation. If you do that, you're not going to be able to grow as a person or as a leader. All right. Another thing is establish a feedback loop. Some people don't like speaking back to their manager. Some people, whenever they are delegated tasks, they just, oh yes, I got this, and they move on. Try to establish some sort of communication where you are asking the right questions. Do you understand what I'm delegating? Do you understand the task at hand? Do you understand the objective? Do you understand what you have on your plate that you can work with, the resources that you have? So establishing some sort of feedback loop so they understand what their process and where they come from. And maybe there's ways for you to improve to communicate as a leader, because not everyone communicates the same way. Okay. And delegate for team building. If you're really trying to build up your team, trying to build future leaders, really want the most out of your team, have them making decisions, have them empower them to make decisions that takes things off your plate. Again, I think this whole concept of delegation is one of those things where a lot of people understand delegation. Hey, listen, if I delegate this, I'm going to pass this off. But a lot of times the downfall is we don't understand how to delegate. And if you understand how to delegate, then that's going to be a much more effective way to navigate, manage, and grow your team. So that's all we have about delegation. Again, you can have control, you can have growth, but you can't have both. So you got to pick. So I want to thank everyone out there for tuning in to Lead with Soft Skills. And if you enjoy this, please share, pass it around. And if you have any questions or anything like that, just put it in the comments, and we'll see you next time.